Hey there, grape grower. This is Fritz Westover, your viticulturist here at Virtual Viticulture Academy and your host on the Vineyard Underground podcast. I'm going to answer a question from the field from David in Texas today. David's a listener, and he's been wondering about spray programs that affect bloom. So let's go ahead and dig into his question. David says, what special considerations related to fungicide sprays should be considered or observed during bloom? I've heard that spraying during bloom reduces fruit set. I believe he's referring to a study by Michigan State in 2017. He goes on to say, can I simply keep spraying everything, or do I need to give each variety a break during their bloom season? How long of a break is needed? And if spraying should be suspended during that time, what signals that it's okay to spray again? Okay, so David, first of all, I get this question a lot from the growers I work with, and it's something that I've dealt with and lived through with every single grower that I've helped. There is a concern that a grower might go in during a very sensitive time of the season, like bloom, when you have these very delicate flowers or inflorescence that are blooming in your vineyard. And number one, if you're spraying anything that you've never sprayed during bloom, and it's an incompatible mixture that you're not aware of, anything that can cause burn, like too much fertilizer, or an incompatible spray mix, like mixing an oil with a sulfur or a iron-based fertilizer with an oil. There's a lot of things out there that can cause toxicity, even on your leaves or your shoot tips, especially your flowers. So don't try anything new around bloom if you're planning to spray near bloom. There is some evidence from some Michigan State studies that showed for Concord grapes, which is juice grapes, that certain fungicides sprayed right at bloom did have some result in some reduction in crop. However, in my personal observation with wine grapes, I've never really seen any big issues with fruit set or loss of fruit just because a fungicide or some type of product was sprayed near bloom. Now, that being said, sometimes an adjuvant to a tank that is in too high of a concentration or that causes a product to be sticky could cause the caps of the flowers to stick onto the flower parts themselves and not properly come off and cause that natural fertilization. That is a thing that could happen. And also, if, like I said, there's any incompatible products in the tank, something you've never sprayed before, something that causes burn, or a product that normally doesn't cause burn that you're applying during a really hot temperature. Like if you apply sulfur in your vineyard and you're applying that above 90 degrees Fahrenheit during bloom, well, we know that above 90 degrees Fahrenheit or even above 85 degrees Fahrenheit, sulfur, especially at high rates, can cause burn. So certainly don't apply that during bloom. But I would say the strategy should be right before bloom, which is a critical time for disease coverage, a critical time for disease protection, because the grapes are so susceptible from that pre-bloom time to about 6 weeks after fruit set. You definitely want to make sure you're using something to protect from black rot, powdery mildew, downy mildew, whatever your region issues are before bloom. So my advice to you would be to time your spray as soon as you can before the onset of bloom. So you're not spraying on actual blossoms or flower parts themselves. And then you can come in after fruit set, which means you have small berries that have set and your bloom is completed and your berry set is complete, presumably for the year. And you can bring in another spray after fruit set. And that would be a window of non-spraying during your bloom that you've purposefully created by spraying immediately before bloom and immediately after fruit set. So that being said, I've had growers who've had really high disease pressure conditions, heavy rainfall, heavy humidity for powdery mildew, things like that. And they were not protected as they got into bloom. For whatever reason, they did not get a pre-bloom spray on. In the case of high disease pressure, I would rather a grower go in and spray a safe, known product at bloom or even during bloom to protect the blossom under high disease pressure, as opposed to waiting it out and taking a chance that their flower clusters or their inflorescence could be infected with botrytis or other rots or other fungal diseases. So it really depends on the circumstances in your situation and your pressure. I've not seen where the actual air blast itself or the wind from the air blast has caused any issues with fruit set if an air blast sprayer is used during bloom. But I guess I'm going to default. Don't try any new products during bloom time. Try to get a spray on immediately at the onset of bloom, and then try to time your next spray for immediately after fruit set. That way you can avoid the whole time of bloom and avoid any possibilities of any issues with fruit set. So David, I hope this helped you out. If you're in a really high disease pressure situation, I think you've heard what I have to say. You probably still do need to spray. It's better than losing your entire crop to a fungal disease. And we definitely don't want that happening to you. If anyone out there heard this information and you want to ask any additional questions or you want to submit a question, you can go to vineyardundergroundpodcast.com, click the Ask Fritz button, and you can submit questions there. I read all of those and make sure I get back to you. So please do that. And I hope this helped you to be a better grape grower.